Hello, it's me, Fat Cow, again. I just felt the need to elaborate a little bit on this whole WASTA thing. Now, the definition of WASTA, or the translation, is basically nepotism or clout, which is using your connections to gain an advantage. Now, Foodie said it was perfectly legal. Well, it's not so much legal or unlegal, it's an unfair advantage. Yes, it's legal, but morally it's wrong. However, it is very limited in what it can do. Usually, the WASTA is somebody who works within the bureaucracy, the government, the police, that kind of thing, and therefore can help with the bureaucracy, the paperwork, so on and so forth. What they can do is expedite paperwork. Basically, they can put your thing at the top of the heap so it gets processed quicker. So you jump in the queue. They can, in some incidences, fail to file the necessary paperwork. This isn't technically legal, but without a paper trail, how are you going to prove it? This could be done in terms of fines, minor crimes maybe, nothing serious. What a WASPA cannot do is create and erase paperwork, because once it's in the system and cannot be tampered with. So let's say one wants to create a legitimate looking marriage certificate. Well, as we know, in order to be married in Kuwait as a person who is not a Kuwaiti national, which Foodie and Salah both aren't, you need to be a resident. You need a civil ID. How does one become a resident? One has a job before they arrive and a sponsor. That's a lot of things to forge, and is definitely against the law. Faking a job is against the law in order to get residency, but a WASFA wouldn't do that in terms of within the bureaucracy and the government. A person that has their own business could do that, but then that connection can only fudge job records. They can't do the government paperwork. And for a marriage certificate without the civil ID and the residency, it doesn't work. You have to do all three papers in order to get this legal marriage certificate. And then it's got to be stamped by the court and witnessed by two people and have both individual signatures on it. Now, that didn't happen. It was in a pharmacy. So you might have a marriage certificate, Foodie, but it's not a legally binding marriage certificate. And to all intents and purposes, in the eyes of the law, you are committing a public indecency of cohabitating, or, some might argue, appearing to cohabitate. Depending on where the WASFA works, they might be able to get you seen quicker by a medical professional, or be able to get you seen by a specialist that is in particular demand. Basically, if you have the money, you can get an advantage in a lot of ways. So the acquiring of the services of a WASFA are usually the playground of the wealthy, and money talks. And I'll be as honest as I can be when I say this. Salah's money is mute. He doesn't have that kind of cash. Now, let's just say for argument's sake, your connection within the bureaucracy of the government was so good, you got all these things. Illegally obtained paperwork cannot, by definition, be legal. It's ill-gotten. Crimes were committed. And quite frankly, the kind of documents you're talking about that you'd need, most government workers, it's not in their pay grade to take that much of a risk. And unless Salah knows a mafia boss, someone who could fake identities while he's at it, no, you're talking absolutely out of your arse. And therefore, you're committing a crime. You're committing the crime of cohabitation, which would result in Salah going to prison and then probably being deported, and you just being deported à la toule, straight away. Had everything fallen into place and all these documents had been gained illegally, Salah will end up in prison and deported, and you will be deported à la toule, straight away. But your travels, frequent travels at very regular intervals, suggests you don't have residency or a civil ID because you don't have a visa that allows you to stay permanent. So basically what I'm saying is, whether your story is true or not, it's not. You're committing a crime either way, and now you have broadcast it and opened it up to actual official investigation to the entire world. And you think that's you getting one up on us? Really? Crikey. You are someone who is so desperate to be right, so desperate to prove other people wrong, that you are willing to throw the love of your life under the bus and get him arrested and then deported to a country where he has to serve in the army and will probably get killed. Foodie, do you have no low? As they say, rock bottom has a basement. Not only does it have a basement, it has a subterranean car park, a subway system, a sewer system, and a tunnel that goes all the way to China. You're special, aren't you?